My name is Briella and welcome to another video of Upcycle Creations. This is our Kids Creations Part 2. So today we're just going to follow in the order of my daughter's School Spirit Week. We are going to make a Wacky Wednesday dress. I'm really excited about this dress in specific because I'm going to use this dress to experiment with a lot of techniques that I have not ever tried before. I said in my first video that starting with kids clothing is just so much more accessible because it gives you the opportunity to practice on such a smaller scale with less material. So again, I'm really excited. We have a pattern for this, or a rough sketch of this dress. My daughter and I designed it together. So it's going to have puffy sleeves, a tighter upper bodice, and then a very poofy skirt that is asymmetrical. So what I like to do for the top of a dress is work with jersey fabric, just because you don't have to worry about zippers or buttons, and it will just be able to have that elastic to be able to just go over their head. So I found this jersey 100% cotton sheet. I thrifted it the other day. There are so many stretchy jersey sheets probably at your local thrift store, so I encourage you to check out and see if you could find a stretchy jersey sheet. This one is yellow. It's perfect for a Wacky Wednesday dress, so this is going to be the top of the body of the dress. For the sleeves and for the skirt, we're going to be using this amazing duvet cover I found. I've already kind of opened it up. It has flowers and it has yellow all over it as well, so that is going to be our Wacky Wednesday dress, these two fabrics together. So to get started, we will make the top half. It's just going to be like a tank top pattern, and it won't be like super snug to my daughter's body, but it will be able to stretch, so that way she can just easily get in and out of that. And then for the sleeves, we will practice a gathering technique to be able to do our puffy sleeves. I have never done a gathering technique on a dress before, so this is the part that I'm particularly excited about. We're going to do cuffs again. We're going to be doing a nice little collar, so a lot to do today, and so we'll get started. If you watched my first kids creation video, I always recommend to make a pattern, just in case you like the design and you can have it on hand to just start over, or to do it again instead of starting over. So for this pattern, I found a stretchy topped tank top dress that we already had in my daughter's closet. So we're going to use this dress. You can see it kind of already has a gathered skirt. So we're just going to start drawing our pattern the same way. I have my shoulder, and I have my other shoulder. And again, we're going to fold it in half like we did last time to make sure it's all symmetrical. We have our armhole, and we have the side down. We have our armhole and the side down. So then we learned in our first video that you should always measure the head circumference first. So my daughter's head circumference is 20. So on this shirt that I'm using, the head circumference is like 13 again, but again, it's stretchy, so it's going to open up to that 20. If I just keep the collar all stretchy, I can also just do a smaller neckline and use my stretch jersey as the collar all the way around, which I can easily do with using one of these hems that are already on the jersey sheet. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's just kind of draw the neckline after we cut it out. So I'll go ahead and just cut out one side first, cut out the right side. And again, I have my armpit hole marked and my shoulder marked. So I'm just cutting straight across on the neckline, and really just cutting a little bit on the bottom, just so we can start to fold it in half and get a symmetrical pattern. So then I'll match up. All right. And I've matched everything up. Make it a little bit bigger, just in case. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And that's the cool thing, is you can always just adjust the size. So you know your kids or your body, if you feel like you want it to be a little bigger, you can always take away. You can't really add. Or it's harder to add, I should say. Alright, and then we'll mark the middle of our fabric at that fold line on your pattern paper. So now we have the middle of our fabric marked using my weights again. Okay. So our armhole on the right side is 6 inches again, just like the last time. So then I'll mark 6 inches down as well for that side. And the shoulder is going to be right here. We'll make our shoulders the same. So I have we'll do a 2-inch shoulder from the edge. And then we'll just draw the back neck hole just an inch down. So from that Alright, so we marked our shoulders from 2 inches from the outside edge. We're going to just mark an inch down in the middle and just make a little back neckline. Okay. And then again for our arms, like we did in the first video, we'll do one for the front and one for the back. Again, the front is just a little more curved in. And the back is just not as curved in general. So you can see roughly the difference between the back one and the front. And I did them upside down. So then we'll just go ahead and truss that and cut out the front. And before we cut out the back, we'll just make sure those are lined up at the 6 inches down. And they are, so then I'll just cut out the back. So now we have our little top pattern. Again, we're just going to use the same pattern for front and back because it's a stretchy material, but we'll use the back sleeve line versus the front sleeve line. Next, we'll make our oversized sleeve pattern. I have never made a puffy shoulder seam sleeve pattern before, so go ahead and lay this out. And we'll start with the back this time. And remember, we just said to match up the notches approximately 2 inches up. So you can always just mark that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and, before we do our sleeve pattern, let's go ahead and measure the back of our sleeve. And it is at like 6 1/4 for the back one. So 6 1/4. But we are going to do puffy sleeves, meaning we're going to gather our fabric. So I would say we're going to roughly, we have to double our sleeve pattern in size in order to be able to gather it and then still have enough fabric to stitch it on. So again, I've never done this before. So 6 1/4, we're going to do a 12 1/2 inch on the back side. And we're just going to kind of see how that works. So 12 1/2 inch on the back side, so we're just going to go ahead and make this, instead of 2 inches, 4 inches, but leave it at the same curve. and just stretch it out. All right. So I have made that 2-inch curve a 4-inch curve, and then we have 8 inches to go from there, 8.5 inches to go from there. So I'm just going to kind of use my measuring tape to kind of trace this sleeve. All right. So that is the back of my sleeve. And once you learn like what a sleeve looks like the shape of it, it really is kind of simple to kind of visualize the shape of a sleeve. And again, I keep forgetting to link that sleeve video, but I'll do that on one of my videos. So you'll have a sleeve video to kind of reference if you're more type A, I need a set system of how to make something. I'm very visual and impulsive and intuitive, so to me this makes a lot of sense. It might not make sense to you. So I moved it a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the back. I've doubled it from 6 1/4 into 12 1/2. And so now we'll do the front, and we'll measure that front sleeve. And the more it curves, the more you're going to add. So this one is going to be 7 inches. So to double it, we'll make a 14 on the other side. So you can go ahead and just make sure you're drawing a straight line. So then we'll measure out roughly 14 1/2 on that curve. Okay. So it ends around here. So then we'll start the curve around here. We'll do the first 2 inches notch. So that's what it looks like. That's the curve. So you can see it's a little curvier. So for the right side, I think I'm going to do that curve. So you can see like this is the pattern we did yesterday. You can see it's like doubled in size. I was gonna make a long sleeve shirt, but I think I'll make a long sleeve shirt. So from shoulder down, we could figure out the sleeve length of our kid's shirt by grabbing another t-shirt. Okay, so if you grab a long sleeve t-shirt, you can find out approximately the sleeve measurement by just taking from the shoulder down to the sleeve. So hers is like 14 1/2. For this sleeve, since I want it to be big and puffy and I want it to be cuffed at the end, I'm actually going to make it a little bit, actually 14 1/2 is fine from the shoulder. So the sleeve will be puffy, so it'll be big, so it will like puff in, and then we're going to have to like narrow it in a little bit so we can add a stretchy cuff at the end. So we want to narrow this in a lot, that way the wrist isn't like super big on this puffy sleeve. So if we have 14 inches down, that's like right here. So the sleeve has to get narrowed down to be about 10.75. So we'll do about 5 3/8 in the middle, and it'll be 10.75. So the sleeve will narrow down to be 10.75. And that looks way better. Okay, so that is our sleeve pattern. Again, we're going to have a jersey that's going to cuff this in at the wrist. This is for our armpit. We're going to gather all of this fabric to make it fit on our shirt. And so let's go ahead and cut this out. All right, there's our sleeve pattern. Go ahead and mark it front and back. We have our shirt pattern. So it's gonna be basically look like this, and it's gonna be cinched like that, and then they'll cuff at the edge. So that's kind of what I'm imagining. Now I just go ahead and cut it out on fabric. First, we're going to cut out on our yellow. And we want to make sure we're cutting on a way that stretches the most. So this way doesn't stretch that much, but horizontally does. So you want to cut it so it can stretch horizontally. And I'm going to show you how to do it with a pencil. Sometimes pencil won't come out of fabric. For these purposes, we're not going to really see it, so it'll be fine. Okay, so I have my front shirt traced. If you're going to trace on your fabric, go ahead and trace on the back, the wrong side of your fabric, so not on the side that you'll see. I'm going to cut a little line right here. And I'm going to do the same right here to mark the shoulders. Alright, so that's our front. So I'll just cut out a front neckline just by eyeballing it and folding it in half. And so that's my little neckline. And then we'll cut out the back. And we'll cut it the same way. So we have our front and our back cut out of the yellow fabric. So next we will cut out our sleeves out of this fabric. And then when you're working with like upcycled fabrics, it's always cool to see the details that are on the fabric. So like we can incorporate this white seam into our pattern or design somehow if we want. So I might just incorporate it. It would make a nice like hem, or if you were cutting it, we could maybe use it for the bottom of the skirt. I don't know, let's see. Or we could use it for the middle of the sleeve to kind of add some nice style to the sleeve. So actually we'll do that. So we're going to fold our fabric in half. And use that white line for our sleeve. Okay, so the fabric's folded in half. I recommend doing this for your sleeves anyways because it helps. So then that will just go in the middle right there. And we'll cut around that. Alright, so we have our fun puffy sleeves. We have our shirt front and back. So next we are going to try and gather the sleeves at the shoulder and see how that works. So we have our shoulder, and I just looked up a couple gathering techniques. I am going to try just the traditional way of gathering, which is just sewing a straight stitch along the edge at the longest length you could do it, which is for mine is a 5, and then we'll sew 2 of those, or we'll just start with 1 and see how well that gathers up. So you're gonna, for a gather stitch, you're not gonna back stitch at all. And then you're gonna wanna leave a tail to be able to work with the thread. So you only take the top, so you're gonna separate the threads, and you're just gonna take the top thread and kind of pull it and gather your fabric through the whole seam. And what we could do is just kind of gather it until we have the measurement we need, which for the back sleeve, I think the measurement was like 6 1/4. So we'll see if that's, we can't gather it over that measurement. So then to keep the gather intact, you just tie your thread in a knot at the end. And then we could do the other side by just taking the top thread and gathering up that right side as well. Okay. We'll tie a knot at the end, and we'll cut off the remaining thread. And I'm so intrigued. So that's our front, and that's our back, and it looks really cute actually. So that's our little gathered sleeve, and that way it'll be all puffy. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other sleeve. Or let's go ahead and try it out first. I am so intrigued. So let's take the traced on sides of our fabric and put those on the outside and this inside together, and we'll sew just the shoulders together on our shirt pattern. I'm going to sew it at a zigzag stitch at like a 3 width or a 3 length, and you will backstitch. So we have our front side and then our back side. So we'll turn those right sides out, and we'll match up our front side with our front scrunched sleeve. And we're not going to stretch anything out while we sew, and we're just going to try and allow those pieces to come together as smoothly as possible. And I'm going to sew still at a zigzag. And you could just sew straight on that gathered stitch because we're not going to be using it anymore. It's already all gathered. So then we go into the back, and it's lining up so well, you guys. Oh my gosh, she looks so cute. So that is a little puffy sleeve. So now we'll just do the left side of the shirt. But I'm really excited. It looks so cute. And then when we cup the ends, oh my god, so cute. Alright, so the other side now. So I'll change my straight stitch back, and I'll set it again to a length of 5, and I'll just gather this other side, and I will be back Alright, I will tell you, I feel so fancy doing a gathered stitch on a sleeve. This is the fanciest thing I've ever made. So next, you'll go ahead and flip your shirt inside out and just sew along the bottom of the sleeve and the side of the shirt. And for this, I'm also just going to use a zigzag stitch. And then you have your very cute top. I'll show it to you on the floor. So this is the top to our dress. It is really cute. Has the puffy big sleeves. We're going to add a cuff around here on the wrists. But this is going to be really nice and stretchy for my daughter to get in and out of it. The sleeves look so cute. So next, we're going to go ahead and just sew on the big skirt. Now we'll cut out our skirt, and we want to gather it, so we want to double the skirt waistband by 2 as well, like we did for the sleeves. So we'll measure our shirt, and I'm going to want to stretch it when I sew it on, just to make sure it has enough stretch when it goes, so it can stretch open a little bit just in case. So we're going to say the top is about 26 all the way around. So we want to double that, so it'll be about 50. My daughter did want an asymmetrical skirt. So we'll do the front side first, and we'll cut them out in we'll cut them out separately. So for the first one, I'll do an asymmetrical. I want to use this white line in the middle of the skirt. It'll kind of show the asymmetricalness. So we have one right here. We don't need to make our shirt out just because our waistband's going to be so big already that the skirt's already going to have a lot of body. So we'll just cut it directly up to 25 straight. And then we'll just flip this over and do the exact same thing somewhere else on the fabric. So we'll flip it face up to face up. We'll go ahead and line up the white line as best we can. And then we can always, I don't know if this is going to be the length, we can always take off some length when we are done. So now we'll gather our skirt up at the waist, which our waist is right here because our skirt is going to be asymmetrical. Once we go ahead and gather this, we'll figure out how we like the length and go from there. So actually first, before we gather, let's go ahead and sew our skirt together. Again, this is going to be the waist up here. So we'll sew it together on the right and the left sides first, and then we'll gather the entire waistband. So my camera cut off, but what we did do is just stitch the skirt together, and then I just put a single stitch at the top. So we're going to go to the floor and gather this together. So I put my gather stitch at the top. I have my thread hanging right here. So I'm going to work on this side first. So just gather it until it's like 12 inches, and then you can kind of just like adjust the fabric out so it's all gathered like equally around the front. And then once you like the way that all looks, you can tie off the front side. And I'll gather up the back. And I'll just gather the back until it matches the front. Alright, so now the back is about 12 as well. So we'll tie that and cut it off. And now we will sew that to our top. So we have the gathered skirt, and we have our top. So what we want to do is stitch them fronts to fronts. So you can either do the shirt inside out or the skirt inside out. I'm going to do the skirt inside out. And since it doesn't matter which side is the front or back, you just want to go ahead. So you'll put the shirt inside the skirt, and you'll line up a seam. So I have my shirt inside my skirt, and I'm lining up the seams, front sides to front sides. So then I'm going to do a zigzag stitch, and I am going to stretch out my shirt fabric a little bit underneath as well. As I sew. And we have our little dress. It is so cute. I'll show you on the floor. This is our cute little dress. It is definitely not perfect. I kind of messed up sewing it to the shirt. In one spot, I could fix it by using my little picker. What did I even do? The shirt was like folded weird, I guess. I don't know. But I think I'm just going to leave it because there's a lot going on, so you can't really tell. But that is our skirt, and our dress. So it looks really cute. It's all asymmetrical. So now what we'll go ahead and do is just make sure it's not going to be like overly long. But it definitely looks wacky. We probably could have gone out on one of the sides because the skirt bottom kind of looks like it curves in. So what we can do is just while I'm looking at it, it looks like the skirt should stop right here. So it'll be like that. Looks like it'll be a good length. We'll go ahead and give the bottom a hem. We will do the cuffs for the sleeves, and then we will add a little collar, which I'm not sure how we'll do that yet. I'm thinking of just, I mean, you could even leave it like that, but we will want to do like a neck collar. Maybe we'll use the hem of the yellow jersey to make the neck collar. We can even use the hem of the jersey to make the cuff. This jersey hem right here, we're going to go ahead and just cut that off and make the neckband. So let's measure the neckband really quick. It's approximately 7 and 9. So 7 and 9 is 15. No, 7 and 9 is 16. So we'll cut out like a 15-inch neckband. Oh no! I cut my ruler. That's sad. So this is nice and stretchy, so I'll be able to stretch for sure 20 to 20. So let's go ahead and put our neckband on. And we'll do the sleeve cuffs, so like 10. So we'll cut out about 8. Alright. We'll go to the sewing machine and put our sleeves on, our neckband on, and hem the bottom of the skirt, and then we will be done. So here's the dress. I will show it to you on Hazel later. That's what it looks like off. I think it looks wacky and cute, and I'm very proud of the sleeves. And we learned a new skill, so it's a win. Now spin around. Nice. Let me see it. Walk towards me.
Cha 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 cha.